You know, this is a story about fear, but we're not talking about a fleeting, everyday kind of fear. No, this is about a deep, historical dread of annihilation, one that's been forged right into the soul of a nation. It shapes its every move. And really, to understand Israel today, you have to understand the ghosts of its past.
Now look at this phrase, survival is the only ideology. That isn't just some clever saying, it's the bedrock. It's the core principle that explains, well, almost everything about Israel's strategic mindset. This one simple, stark statement, it's the key. It unlocks the entire worldview we're about to dive into.
So where does this story really begin? It starts in the aftermath of unimaginable loss. You see, Israel wasn't just born, it was willed into existence, rising from the ashes of the Holocaust. And from its very first breath, it found itself in a neighborhood that, to put it mildly, did not welcome its arrival. So you have this combination, right? A foundation of absolute trauma and an environment of constant hostility. That embedded a profound fear of extinction right into the nation's DNA.
And that fear, well, it didn't stay abstract for very long. It was almost immediately put to the ultimate test. It was the nation's very first war for existence that would crystallize this whole survivalist mindset into a hard, unyielding national creed.
Okay, so if you look at this timeline, you can see just how quickly things happened. The dream of a state, first promised in the Balfour Declaration and then sanctioned by the UN, it was almost instantly met with overwhelming violence. And the 1948 war, make no mistake, this wasn't some border skirmish. This was an all-out fight for survival against multiple invading armies at once.
And right out of the fire of that war came this incredibly powerful ethos, the no-second-chance mentality. This right here, this defines everything that comes after. The lesson they learned was as brutal as it was simple. If you lose once, you might not exist tomorrow. And that single belief, it's driven decades of proactive and yes, often very aggressive security policy.
So this all leads to a huge question, one that Israel's founders had to answer, and fast. I mean, if your very existence is always at risk, what kind of fortress do you have to build just to make sure you see the next sunrise? How do you even begin to do that?
Well, the answer they came up with was to build what they called a strategic iron wall. And this wasn't just about, building an army. It was about designing an entire architecture of survival, built directly on that foundational dread we've been talking about. Okay, so this whole architecture, it rests on three core pillars. Let's break them down. First, you have deterrence. The idea here is simple. Be so strong that no one even dares to attack you. Second, early warning. This means relying on absolutely unparalleled intelligence to see a punch coming long, long before it's thrown. And third, and this is crucial, preemption. That's the belief that if you see an existential threat gathering on the horizon, you don't wait to absorb the first blow, you strike first. So what's the engine driving all of this? It's something called the Qualitative Military Edge, or QME for short. Look, it's not enough to just be as strong as your neighbors. The policy, the doctrine says you have to be technologically and tactically superior to any combination of them. Think about that. We're talking about having the best fighter jets, missile defense systems like the Iron Dome, top-tier cyber capabilities, things no one else in the region can match. The whole point is to maintain a permanent, undeniable advantage.
And as you can probably guess, that edge comes at a price. A huge price. This chart really shows you. Maintaining that QME requires a staggering investment in tech, in weapons, in training, a commitment that's often supported by a lot of foreign military aid. It's a policy that's literally written in budgets and built with steel.
But what happens if all of that, the iron wall, the superior tech, the preemptive strikes, what if it's not enough? What's the final guarantee? Well, this brings us to the most secretive and the most chilling part of Israel's entire defense doctrine. For decades, Israel has had this very strict, very deliberate policy of what's called nuclear ambiguity. Basically, they won't confirm it, but they won't deny it either that they have a nuclear arsenal. And that silence, that deliberate, deafening silence, it creates this powerful and deeply unsettling uncertainty for any adversary that might even think about an existential strike.
And this unspoken threat, it has a name. It's called the Samson option. Now that name itself is a powerful message. It evokes the biblical story of Samson, who, when he was about to be defeated, pulled the temple down on top of himself and all of his enemies. It's the ultimate final deterrent. The signal is crystal clear. If Israel is going to be destroyed, it will not go down alone.
Okay, so you might be thinking,
this is all history, right? But these fears, they are not relics of the past. They're very much alive. And in the 21st century, they've really coalesced around one new primary threat.
And that threat is Iran. From Israel's strategic perspective, there is no other country, no other state actor that poses the same level of existential concern. And that perception, it fuels pretty much every major defense decision Israel makes today.
So, why Iran? Why is the threat seen as so existential? Well, because it's seen as coming from multiple fronts at once. You've got their nuclear ambitions, you have the constant, explicit rhetoric from their leadership calling for Israel's destruction, and this is so important, you have this vast network of proxy forces, groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, all armed and funded by Iran to create what Israel sees as a permanent ring of fire right on its borders. So for them, this isn't some abstract threat. It's the very real, constant reality of rocket sirens and border clashes that impacts everyday civilian life.
And so, here we are, right back where we started. We come full circle. The past isn't really the past here. It's the present. That feeling of being a nation under siege, born back in 1948, it's never really gone away. It's just evolved.
And really, if there's one thing to take away from all of this, it's this: that deep-seated fear, that historical imperative for survival, it isn't just a military doctrine tucked away in a binder somewhere. No, it permeates everything. It shapes politics, it shapes society, and it is a fundamental, maybe the fundamental factor you have to grasp to understand why the region remains so volatile.
So where does that leave things, looking to the future? Well, the paths forward seem to be just variations on the same theme. On one hand, you have a future of perpetual conflict, constant vigilance, always reacting to the next threat. On the other hand, maybe you have an uneasy peace, a fragile kind of quiet that's only maintained by the shadow of overwhelming military strength. And the thing is, both of those paths are born from the exact same history.
And all of this leaves us with one final lingering question. When a nation is built from its very foundations to be a fortress, designed for perpetual defense against what it sees as a hostile world, can it ever truly feel like a home?
At Geotectonics, our mission is to uncover these profound tectonic shifts, offering clarity in a world of complexity. If this analysis deepened your understanding, please like this video to support our work, share it with others who seek real insight, and subscribe to Geotectonics to ensure you never miss our next deep dive. We'll continue to explore the crucial geopolitical movements that define our time. Thank you for joining us.